All right, Isaac Harris. So over the weekend, the draft was a big topic of conversation. Where the Mavs have failed. We're talking about, well, the Mavs team is not built for defense. The Mavs are in a really bad spot right now. And Desmond Bane going off for 29 the other day against the Mavericks in a win when John Morant wasn't there and Luka and KP weren't there for the Mavs. It should have been an equal match, but the Grizzlies nailed the draft a couple of years in a row. And all of a sudden now they have this team that, can compete even when their best player is not on the court. They've won 4 games in a row without John Morant. The Mavs can't seem to do that. Mavs are not in a position to do that right now. Desmond Bane was a big miss for the Mavs in the 2020 draft.
In post game for Desmond Bane, he was asked about kind of this added motivation. Got a little podium game from Bane here, and I'm just going to read his answer. He said, "No question about the added motivation, especially playing in Dallas. If you guys didn't know this, he played college ball at TCU, which is pretty close to the Mavericks stadium, organization, all of that." He said, "No question. I've always thrived on that. I mean, I'm not a guy that needs a bunch of extra motivation, but I'm definitely motivated to play against the organizations that passed on me. I mean, there's 29 of them. I went 30th. So every game, especially the ones like Dallas, the ones that I thought would be good fits and were showing me interest through the pre-draft process right in my backyard. Did y'all know that he played in his backyard?
They showed him interest?
That's what he said.
Okay.
Some would say that Dallas didn't have any interest in, but he said that they did. So I love where I'm at, but if there was a number 2, it probably would have been here. He says, so I'm just glad that we got the win tonight. Let me just say that. He went on to have a direct quote about Josh Green of saying, "Hey, Josh Green went before me, but I don't think he played tonight." And he said, "But that's on them. He's worried about me." Little drive-by right there by Desmond Bane. But you know what? I don't blame Desmond Bane. If I'm Desmond Bane, I'm probably answering those questions just like that. Like, let me get a little shot in there.
Do it.
But also be respectful at the same time. I thought it was a great answer by him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mavs, that 2020 draft is just going to haunt them. And it's been the topic of conversation because of everything you said in the first segment. Mavericks team had expectations. They had Luka. They had KP. They had this team that was, okay, we have expectations now. We're expected to make the playoffs. We're expected to now win in the first round because that's the goal. And now you have this 2020 draft where you have 3 picks in the top 36, 37, and you're expected to come away with at least, to me, it was at least 1 rotation player. At least. That was I would have been ecstatic if the Mavericks came away with 1 rotation player before the draft. I think that was the thing that I kept saying.
Yeah.
And it seems like the Mavericks haven't come away with 1 at all. And it was on full display against Memphis when Desmond Bane said those comments.
Yeah, well, it's just there's only been 1 first-round pick after we've drafted Luka. And you just look at draft picks after Luka in general, after Luka, the same draft, they got Jalen Brunson, incredible pick. One of the first picks of the second round. I mean,
that's the Desmond Bane of his draft, right? Like that's the guy that other people probably say, "Dang, why did we miss on that guy?"
And I don't even mess around with second round picks when it comes to like, hey, whether we judge teams or not, because they're just such a shot in the dark. Let's just, blindfold ourselves, spin around 3 times and throw the dart at the dartboard type thing. It's the first rounders that I think deserve a lot of criticism. But after that draft, they didn't have the pick after Luka's draft because they used it to get Luka in 2018. So then, bam, it's like 2020 was the first draft, post Luka. That's like, all right, time to add to the Luka core here. And you get Josh Green. We know all the conversation about the Josh Green versus Saddiq Bey thing on that draft night. Josh Green, won out on that. And it's like, I just want to say this. It's getting to a point where I feel bad for Josh Green personally.
Yeah,
because,
really.
I mean, this has nothing to do with him. And man, it's become like a story to where it's just all about like how bad he sucks and how he's not playing and all this. And it's like, yeah, he needs to improve, but he can't help, what the franchise, did and stuff. And, they swung forward with Green and obviously didn't work out. And that's where we're at.
And he's barely played too. He hasn't really even gotten a chance. I'm not sure if he got a chance, he'd be able to prove everybody wrong, prove the doubters wrong, and prove that he would be
he hasn't been
pick,
good.
But he's played less than 500 minutes in the NBA so far. Like he's not played a lot at all.
And I brought up, after the Grizzlies game, it's like, hey, listen, I've been there saying Josh Green isn't solving everything. You know, some fans are like just clamoring, where is Josh Green? I was actually kind of in that camp against Memphis. I'm like, why is he not playing? Like, why in a game like this that Luka, KP, and these guys are not playing? Why can't Josh Green see minutes in a game like that? I didn't fully understand that, but
what do you take from that? Does Josh Green not playing in a game against Memphis like that, where Luka and KP are both out? Okay, so the top two players in your rotation are out, and Josh Green still even can't get any minutes in a game like that. What does that does that tell you? The coach doesn't believe in him? Does that tell you that the coach felt like they really needed to win, and so the top, the rest, the 3 through 9 or 10 players in the rotation had to play a lot more because they were trying to win really bad?
I just think Jason is really trying to like keep true to his rotations. Like I made a note on that pod saying I was surprised like Tim didn't start. And it's like Luka, KP, like they're not playing. We need all the offense we can. And Tim still didn't start. So he was really staying true to the rotations of like, hey, Tim moved to the bench. We're gonna keep him on the bench, keep that kind of bench unit, except we'll move Brunson to the starting unit. So I just think he wanted to try to stay to that rotation. And even after the game, somebody asked, I forgot who it was, of like, hey, Josh, Eugene, Moses didn't get any minutes in this game. Why not? And he just, paraphrasing here that, hey, well, there's only so many minutes in a game. I just didn't find minutes for them. And
it's a basketball game. They're basketball players.
They're basketball players in that. So there's a lot of other.
The one thing that makes it surprising to me is that he specifically mentioned Josh Green as a player that in his introductory press conference as a player he wanted to develop. We're going to come in and develop players like Josh Green.
Somebody found that tweet of mine. I tweeted that quote from Kid, and somebody found it on Twitter the other day and was, after that game, was like, hey, what about this? And
apparently it isn't working, but yeah.